We present ThingShare, a video conferencing tool that supports sharing physical objects during online meetings. We all know that Zoom has become part of our life now. During the remote meeting, we're not just share persons' faces and their talking heads through the camera video, but we also show things. However, it is not always smooth. As you may have experienced, it can be difficult to show and reference specific parts of the objects. Moreover, it can be challenging for a remote user to see it clearly without a close-up view. And if you want to point to the object, because the current tool does not support remote gestures, what you can do is to do it in an ambiguous verbal way, such as to the left or to the right, which may cause some confusion. When the virtual background is on, the object magically disappears. Over the years, researchers have studied and built systems to address these challenges in video meetings. This has led to a large range of different specialized systems designed for sharing physical objects and spaces. However, they often rely on complex hardware setups and thus will not be available to the average person who has video meetings on their everyday devices such as laptop. Our goal, instead, is to design a video conferencing system without extensive hardware and support better integration of the person and task space for conversations around physical objects. But before that, we were curious about how do people have object-centered conversations during their everyday lives. So we conducted a study with 124 Mechanical Turk users, and we asked if and how they share objects in remote meetings. First of all, we found that more than half of the participants reported sharing objects at least occasionally in both leisure-related and work-related meetings. For their sharing behaviors, we discovered that the majority of users simply hold the object up to the camera. And we also learned about that sharing objects in video meetings can be challenging. First, it can be difficult to pinpoint a location on the object for finer detail or see the size. Second, it is hard to capture multiple pages or different perspectives of an item. Third, remote gesturing and understanding remote users' attention can be difficult. Fourth, users need to coordinate the position and angle of the item, which is onerous. And finally, sharing objects is not afforded when with virtual background. With ThingShare, we want to support this ad hoc digitalization of the object so that people can create a digital copy and share it across different users. The user can simply drag and drop the object and turn it into a digital copy. We support two video windows. The user can either share objects in a more contextual mode through the person view window, or magnify the object in the task view window for more focused discussion. Hence, our approach to object sharing is twofold, providing a person-centric sharing mode where users can casually share their personal belongings or prototypes through their video feeds without focusing on the fine details of the object, which can be more expressive. Additionally, we offer task-centric sharing where objects can be shared in detail during focused discussions such as product reviews, hands-on training, or design sessions. Let me describe in detail how the system works and the main interaction. The system will have this local person view on the left and remote person view on the right, and the object library on the top right corner. The object library is a container of the stored object so that the remote user can also get access to it. The box on top right corner displays the most recent snapshots, and clicking here shows the history snapshots. And the remote user can get access to all the objects in the object library and reuse them by dragging the object in the video window. Currently, she is comparing her current model with the remote partner's digital copies. Our system not only considers handheld objects, but also background objects. And it can be even used to share contents on mobile screens. Let's say there's multiple objects in the environment. The system will detect and show them as a yellow contour. If the user hovers over a specific object, it will be shown as a green contour. The snapshot function only supports taking one copy at a time. However, a user can also store short videos by dragging and dropping them into the second box and clicking to stop anytime. Later, they can reuse and play the video in their person view. Now, imagine that you look at your own video. When sharing a video, you can choose to hide certain surrounding objects, such as a water bottle or clothes, but you still want to show something. For example, a whiteboard. By turning on the virtual background, the remote user will not be able to see the object in your environment by default, as seen on the right. However, you can right-click on the Show Object command to make the selected object visible to the remote user. You can also hide it again as needed. Sharing things through the person view is not always ideal. For example, when sharing sketches or drawings, it can be hard to see the details in the small person view. Furthermore, when pointing gestures are used, the hand doing the pointing may not be captured by the camera. With task view, we consider efficient gesturing by showing the pointing gestures on a separate magnified panel from the person view. They can create ad hoc copies on the magnified panel without having to hold the object, so that they can quickly prototype the potential style of their visualizations. Short videos are also supported in task view, but to enable better collaboration experiences, we support navigating between different keyframes. By clicking to different snapshot thumbnails, users are able to easily navigate back to prior snapshots. Any annotations made by the user are saved, so that the user can quickly review the annotations made on prior snapshots. Moreover, if you want to put any component to the scene, you can start the collage mode to move it to the potential position for further discussion. We conducted a study to compare ThingShare with Zoom. One key difference is that in Zoom, you may only hold up objects in your person space view, whereas in ThingShare, the digital copies can be detected and separated from the video. Also, it can be put into a separate detail view so that it can be similar to the screen sharing in Zoom. Our study aimed to determine if ThingShare effectively supports local users in showing objects and remote audiences in understanding them. For the use of digital copies, users can have casual and playful interactions by blending digital copies and person view windows together. For example, during the study, this user physically pointing to the digital copy or pretended to eat an apple, utilizing the blended illusions. Stored digital copies also allow remote users to explore objects in parallel. For example, they can bring the remote user's digital copy into their own person view window and enlarge it for more detail. For asymmetric tasks where only one user has the object and another user instructs, we observe a lot of verbal communication in baseline, which often led to confusion. With ThingShare, users can create digital copies, allowing both users to look at the same view and annotate on it, reduce the need for perspective changes, and improving the communication. For symmetric tasks where both users have the same set of objects, we ask them to imagine they were roommates trying to furnish a room with a floor plan and furniture brochures. In the baseline, it was difficult to synchronize their views, and users were uncertain about each other's attention. However, ThingShare helped gauge attention as they were looking at the same view, making the task easier to complete. In summary, ad-hoc digital copies can support person-centric and task-centric sharing of physical objects during remote meetings with commodity hardware. Thank you for your attention.